Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Council of Deans of Health podcast. Today is a special edition as part of our research month for February 2022. I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by Professor Heather Iles-Smith today to talk about the NIHR Incubator for Nursing and Midwifery. Heather is going to talk us through some slides about the incubator work and the progress it's made so far. So over to you, Heather. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Robin, and thanks for inviting me to talk on this podcast. I'm really pleased to be here. I'm going to talk about the NIHR Nursing and Midwifery Incubator. And I'm just trying to move it. Here we are. So the incubator was created in around about 2019, and it was following the National Institute for Health Research Strategic Review Training. And through that review, it was identified that a few professional groups were underrepresented in the fellowship applications. Both the numbers and the success rates were low for nurses and midwives. There were a few other professions as well, like pharmacists and some of the AHP professions, but when they took into consideration the size of the nursing profession and midwifery professions, they were most definitely underrepresented. So the incubator was created to improve the number of applications and also the success of those applications, so the quality of applications submitted by nurses and midwives to the NIHR pre-doctoral and doctoral and postdoctoral fellowship awards. So essentially, the purpose of the incubator has been to build research capacity for nurses and midwives for the workforce and to increase the number of those NIHR personal fellowships and also to increase the success rates and provide the prospective applicants with additional support and really using the existing pathways and infrastructure and maximising the opportunities for the two professions. And so the incubator has done has a few work streams. I think it's 5 in all now, that have evolved really since the back end of 2019. And we were one of the first NIHR incubators, actually. I think there are about 7 now, but certainly we were one of the first. And so we've been finding our way. We created a steering group, and then we also created a partnership group. And that's been really helpful in terms of galvanising our efforts. So this is a steering group, and we've got some really fabulous people on that steering group, including you, Robin, representing the Council of Deans. And we've been able to really start to shape things and started to, I hope, make a difference. Our partnership group came on board in, I think it was probably around about the middle of 2020. And we have representatives from the RCN, the RCM, the 70 at 70 research nursing and midwifery leads. And we also have some visiting, we invite a few visiting people, such as colleagues from other countries, such as Scotland. And we're always happy to invite people to be observers because we want to share the work that we do and some of the innovations that we've managed to create. So our work streams have involved, firstly, training. So that was one of our first. And through that work stream, we've created some masterclasses. And they've been mainly for the applicants but we've also run a supervisors masterclass too. And these have been really dedicated to people who are definitely going for the awards, but it's also been about the early career researcher understanding, what is a good research question, what is the need, patient need, what is the need of the Department of Health and Social Care, and how does their research sit into practice. So it's been very much about practitioners doing research and evolving clinical academic careers. And they've been really successful. We've had some really good feedback. The first ever training event was actually run in Leeds face-to-face, and we piloted that with the pre-doctoral fellowships for nurses and midwives. And it was a great success. And they actually brought their supervisors along with them. Well, not all of them did, but some of them did. And so then, of course, that was in February. We just managed to get it in before the pandemic. And then, of course, the pandemic hit, and of course, there was no possibility of face-to-face training. So we then created an online offer, and we ran that on 3 occasions. And we've now moved to a webinar format, and that will be advertised very soon. And really, we won't limit the number of people who can take part in that webinar, but we will need people to register so that we can actually track the outcome and whether they submitted applications and whether they were successful, obviously with their consent. And then the second work stream has been the development of an advisory service. And this advisory service was about supporting nurses and midwives with a one-off, it should have been face-to-face, but obviously it's been virtual, conversation with a clinical academic or an academic lead to help the candidate understand their career opportunities, where they might go locally to get support, to get funding, that kind of thing. And we ran a pilot in early 2020, actually it was probably the summer of 2020, across 3 regions across England, and just to test it out. And the advisors received some training, and that was really successful, and candidates really liked that. The majority of the people accessing the service were actually very early in their research careers, and we're just really setting out. After the pilot, we then ran it for a period of time across England, and we've now had to close that because we're now seeking sustainable funding to continue that going forwards, and we're talking to the NIHR and Health Education England about that. And then the next piece of work has been the postdoctoral development, and this has been about because postdoctoral careers are always a bit tricky, I think, and no more so for nurses and midwives. That time when they often go back into practice after they've got their PhD, and they're trying to maintain those links with academia whilst also being in practice, can be really tricky. But there are some people who've made a great success of it, or are making a great success of it. And we wanted to showcase those successes and shine a light on these role models so that other people could see how it could be done potentially, and understand that there isn't one size fits all, and that lots of people do it in lots of different ways. So we're currently developing some videos, working with NHS R&D Northwest, and they are, if anybody's seen the Wonder Woman films, they're fabulous. They're about academics and clinical academic women and in health. And they will be a similar format, but they will feature nurses and midwives. And we're looking forward to those. They're likely to be filmed in the next 8 weeks or so. So please look out for those. They'll certainly be on the NIHR website because we're working with the NIHR on those. And the other thing we've been doing with postdocs is to develop a career template. That sounds odd. So it's more about people being able to describe their career on a sheet of A4. So the way their career might snake up and down, and a bit like snakes and ladders, really, the ups and downs of their career pathway and how they've managed to achieve things and overcome problems and the highs and the lows. And then the next piece of work, which is absolutely critical, and we've been a little bit late getting this going, really, but we're creating a website for it won't be called the incubator because the incubator actually ends in 2023. It will be for nursing and midwifery. It will be a nursing and midwifery research platform, and it will hopefully have some longevity. And some of the films I've talked about, and also the career templates, will also be posted on that website, and also our training will be run through that website as well. So that's going to be critical to the future for us all. And we're working with the heads of nursing for research for Ruth May, the Chief Nursing Officer for England. And we're also working with the NIHR Director of Nursing, who are, and they're all in support of this website. And we hope that going forward there'll be an opportunity for them to utilise that platform. And we're just about to launch our Twitter account as well, that's dedicated to the incubator, so please look out for that. And then the next piece of work has been an undergraduate programme, because I think it's fair to say that for undergraduates, they have very little insight or exposure to research actually happening in clinical practice and in NHS trusts. And so they often don't understand, for instance, what a clinical research nurse might do, or how a clinical trial might run in the NHS, and the benefits of that to patients and practice. And so the undergraduate programme, that's been developed by actually the 70 at 70, NIHR 70 at 70 Nurse and Midwife Research Leaders Programme. And they have developed that, and it's been launched at a number of universities across England. And we're just awaiting to hear about the pilot from that. And then the next piece of work has been around NHS managers, and this is actually a new work stream. So we've recognised, and I'm sure lots of other people recognise, that often NHS managers really struggle or can struggle to understand some of the timelines that are involved in a clinical academic accessing research or developing research, and therefore some training for them, or some education, or some resources to help them navigate supporting their staff is really important. And we're not quite sure what that piece of work looks like yet, but it's starting to evolve. So it's been quite a busy time, and we've had some highlights. As I mentioned, the training's been fabulous, and it's been really rewarding delivering that and being part of that. And I've had the privilege of being involved in that. It's been great, and we've had some fantastic feedback, and it's always oversubscribed. The advisory service, so that's been really well received as well. So that's been great, and we look forward to, hopefully, fingers crossed, that being funded as a service going forward. And postdocs, so we've been looking into some contractual issues, showcasing postdoc success and supporting the career pathways and role modelling. And I think I've mentioned all the other things. And then I suppose the next thing has just been the I don't know what I've done. I think I might need to do some editing.
No, that's fine. I think it's not turned to the next slide yet. But...
I think I might have stopped sharing. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. It's still on the highlights page.
Highlights, right? Okay, I tried to go to the next one. Why is it not moving on?
Oh, there we go. There we go.
So some of the challenges, because it's not all been a bed of roses, sadly. Some of the challenges have been that the incubator has been resourced by staff on a voluntary basis. So we do have some dedicated resource funded by the NIHR on that. So we have some admin support with Louise, who's fab. And also we have a small amount of project management resource through Nick, who's, so both Nick and Louise have been fab. But everybody else, it's all voluntary. And so that sometimes has causes people a bit of a headache because they're trying to do their day jobs as well. But I have to say that there's been an awful lot of passion and willingness to support these opportunities and trying to make a step change. And the other challenge has been trying to establish a really clear baseline for improvement to enable us to measure things going forward. So the NIHR have been helping us with that in terms of our metrics so that we can measure change. Of course, one of those challenges has been a little bit disruptive in the form of a pandemic. And, initially in 2020, we thought, oh no, there's not going to be any submissions by nurses and midwives to the fellowships. But in actual fact, it was about the same. The success rate improved slightly. And it seems to have evened out both in terms of applications and success rates have improved. So I think it was 2020, we did have a slight drop in applications, but success went up, and now applications have gone up and success has remained slightly improved. We've not made a lot of difference in terms of postdoc applications to the clinical fellowships and senior clinical lectureships, and that's some work we need to continue to do. And general awareness of the incubator has been a bit slow to take off, really. And I think that might be because, there's been a lot of other things in the news, but also I think the workforce have had their heads down, and they've been so busy clinically that it's been difficult to get the word out there. But it's been a bit of a slow burn, and I think now that we are known about, but it's just taken a little time. And I mentioned COVID-19, of course, how could we not? And I think that the other challenge has been that the nurse and midwifery workforce has undergone significant reprofiling, just to meet the needs of the evolving change. And that's probably had a bit of an impact as well. Of course, there's a few challenges, but we'll see. So thanks for listening. Hopefully that's been helpful.
Thank you very much, Heather. It's really great to hear all about the incubator and its work, and it seems to have made a lot of progress, and definitely testament to your leadership and the time and effort you've put into trying to make it work, as well as the rest of the steering group. But it's really great for all of our members to hear about the work of the incubator, and hopefully going forward, I know the incubator is due to finish next year, but hopefully going forward, the legacy of the incubator will remain, and we'll see some sort of real tangible outputs there. But thank you very much. And thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thanks everybody.